Hello, folks, and welcome to your day weather podcast on this, the second day of July 2021. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer. Well, not as hot in the West Coast with some nice monsoonal thunderstorms occurring across much of the Great Basin, Rockies, and the high plains. Extreme heat that has been in the Pacific Northwest is shifting eastward. Monsoonal showers and thunderstorms of late have brought significant rain in areas, even some flooding. Most of the Rockies and the high plains will be trending hotter and drier, but when? Let's start with past precipitation for the last 7 days. Here's the last 7 days of precip from Tuesday evening. So this doesn't account for all the showers and thunderstorms we had on Wednesday and Thursday. There's a lag in these past precipitation maps. And so this one is for the last 7 days from Tuesday evening on, and we've had a lot of moisture across Wyoming, Colorado, on down into New Mexico and eastward. Also have had some showers and thunderstorms of late across the Great Basin and the southwestern United States, all of which is great news. All this moisture across central Wyoming pretty much fell from this last Friday through Sunday, and a lot of this monsoonal moisture here across Colorado and especially New Mexico has been over the last few days between about Sunday and Tuesday. And if we had precipitation models from the last couple of days, we'd even see more orange and yellows, blues all across the Rocky Mountains and High Plains. And before last Friday, pretty much the entire Rocky Mountain West on out through the Great Basin, the West Coast, would have been dry. And over the last 7 days, precipitation across central Wyoming, much of Colorado, all across New Mexico, and then portions of the Great Basin and Desert Southwest have been well above average for late June and early July. This is the 7-day precipitation anomaly map from Tuesday for the previous 7 days, and these blues are anywhere from 150 to almost 400% of average. We're in this time of the year where we're in between major precipitation outbreaks and periods here in the Rockies and High Plains. We've moved out of our spring showers and thunderstorms of May and early June, and generally this time of the year, the monsoonal season hasn't started, but it has started here now and did several days ago. Then also we had that cool trough of low pressure, which helped to create a lot of showers and storms across the Rockies eastward last weekend. So how about temperatures? Well, here's 7-day temperature anomaly from Thursday. So yesterday, for the preceding 7 days, you can see anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below average in areas across sections of the Rockies and High Plains. Exact opposite with that intense high pressure out in the Pacific Northwest, the record-setting heat, and 20 to 30 degree temperatures above average, but it's starting to change. It's starting to shift eastward, that hot high pressure, and we're seeing these hot above average temperatures work their way across the Rockies and unfortunately again into eastern Montana, northern Wyoming, and much of the Dakotas, but we still have this sharp cutoff in temperatures. This is where that negatively tilted trough for the last several days is still affecting temperatures, as well as a lot of monsoonal moisture across the southern and central Rockies and down into the southwestern United States and also the state of Texas. Temperatures as much as 15 to 20 degrees cooler than average in sections of New Mexico, and that's due to all the early season monsoonal showers and storms and the cloud cover. Let's now take a look at a 300 millibar map. This is about 30,000 feet in the atmosphere, and this is where the jet stream lies, even a little higher than this during the summer thanks to the warmer air and rising heights in our atmosphere. Normally during the wintertime, we'd see a lot of oranges and yellows and browns, strong jet stream wind speeds anywhere from 130 to 200 knots. But during the summer months, our jet stream weekends, but we still have quite a bit going on for early July. We've got the Rocky Mountains right here. We've got the West Coast out in this area, and then Alaska right up here. Jet stream coming out of the Russian eastern side of Russia and then also the Bering Strait into the Gulf of Alaska, we now have an unorganized trough of low pressure up over the west coast, ridging through the northern and central Rockies and up into Canada, and then a big trough out into the eastern United States. This trough used to be out here in the plains. This high pressure used to be out in the Pacific Northwest. And also, we now have high pressure starting to filter in and build across Texas and the southwestern United States. This was the hot high pressure of the last few days that was out over the East Coast. And we've had a major shift here over the last couple of days in the big Omega block with high pressure in the west, high pressure in the east, and the trough in the central United States is now over. And this is going to mean shifting weather conditions across the nation. So this is valid for this morning, Friday morning. If we jump ahead to Sunday morning, we have high pressure starting to shift a little bit westward, more into the desert southwest. And this is going to be very important to weather conditions as we get into the second half of next week, all across the west coast, but through the Rockies and high plains as well. We still have jet stream coming out of Russia and into the Gulf of Alaska and the eastern Pacific. We have a little ripple here across the northwest, and not a lot going on through the Midwest and that dying trough out in the east. This little ripple here is going to bring some relief to heat that'll be across the Montana, northern Wyoming, Dakotas region as we get into Tuesday. And this building and shifting high pressure off to the southwest, unfortunately, is going to start to pump up desert southwest air, a dry and hot air mass, back into the Great Basin and eventually east of the Rockies, all across Wyoming, Colorado, and even New Mexico. Taking it one step further, here is Tuesday of next week. Jet stream still diving out of Russia and the Bering Sea into the Pacific. That's going to be important later on. Little ripple across the northern plains, and that is going to create 1 or 2 days of some seasonal temperatures across Montana, northern Wyoming, Dakotas, and that's going to be after the heat wave of the next few days. Then we have just ripples across the eastern section of the nation. High pressure also continues to strengthen across the desert southwest, and this is for next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to start to see the early part of next week. We're going to start to see clockwise rotation bring in a hotter and drier air mass. Between now and about next Tuesday, though, still a southerly flow, a moist flow along and east of the Rockies from Texas to New Mexico through Colorado and southeastern Wyoming. That's going to keep some monsoonal showers and thunderstorms in the forecast here for today through about next Tuesday. But as we get into next week and this strengthening high pressure all across the western United States, we're going to be looking at, unfortunately, an end. Monsoonal thunderstorms across the Rockies, across the Great Basin. It's going to be very hot and continue dry across the far western United States. And that'll last for at least a few days. But the jet stream up here coming out of the Bering Sea and this big trough across the eastern Pacific will start to break down the high pressure late next week, and that will bring our next chance towards the middle of July for another resurgence of some cooler temperatures and some monsoonal flow up the Rocky Mountains and here into the central high plains. But in the meantime, couple 2-3 more days of some monsoonal showers and storms for sections of Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and to a lesser extent the southwest United States, then shifting hotter and mostly dry for several days into and through the second half of next week. Have a great Friday and enjoy your 4th of July holiday. We'll talk to you next time on Tuesday.